He is without question the modern-day icon of American investors. His hunger for financial success was evidenced since he was a young child. His worldly wisdom is enormously powerful in application. His investment philosophy, although seemingly simple, has been integral in shaping the perspective of investors for decades. Of course, the man we are talking about is Warren Buffett, the American businessman and philanthropist, who serves as the chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. Widely regarded as one of the most successful investors in the world, he has a net worth of $80.7 billion as of January 2019, and was ranked by Forbes' list of the world's billionaires as third wealthiest person in the world. In this episode, we will be looking at the life story of Warren Buffett, how he put his value investing philosophy into practice and made billions of dollars, and then give away almost all of it. Warren Buffett was born in Omaha, Nebraska. His father, Howard Buffett, was an owner of an equity brokerage, and a Republican congressman who was Scandinavian by origin, and his mother was Spanish. In 1942, his father was elected to the first of 4 terms in the United States Congress. Moving with his family to Washington, D.C., he started attending Allasteel Junior High School and graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School in 1947. Strongly influenced by his father, he developed a natural leaning towards business and investing at a young age, and became an avid reader of books on investing. At the age of 7, he came across a book called 1000 Ways to Make $1,000. Reading that book was a light bulb moment for him, which inspired him to start his lifelong journey of entrepreneurial ventures. He started making money through various means such as delivering newspapers and magazines, or selling chewing gum and Coca-Cola bottles. In 1944, at the age of 14, he filed his first income tax return, claiming a $35 tax deduction for his bicycle used for delivering newspapers. One of his most lucrative ideas came up in 1945 while he was still in high school. He and a friend bought a used pinball machine for $25 and built a small empire out of it. They first placed it in the local barber shop. After just a few months of operation, they owned several machines in 3 different barber shops across Omaha. The business was sold later in the year for $1,200. Before he turned 20, he earned $5,000 from his various early businesses, the equivalent of about $53,000 today. After finishing high school, even before the ink was dry on the diploma, he wanted to throw himself directly into business and skip the college education, but his decision was rejected by his father. Under the pressure from his father, he entered the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania in 1947 and studied there for 2 years. He then transferred to the University of Nebraska and graduated there with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. After being rejected by Harvard Business School, Buffett enrolled at Columbia Business School of Columbia University, where he met his mentor Benjamin Graham. Graham pioneered the concept of value investing, which became the central piece in Buffett's investment philosophy. As Buffett writes in a tribute to Benjamin Graham, "More than any other man except my father, he influenced my life." Value investing is an investment style that involves buying securities that appear underpriced by some form of fundamental analysis. That is, investors should focus on the underlying value of a company rather than on the short-run movements of its stock price. Buffett is convinced that it is the only true form of investing and has been applied it throughout his investment career, which proved to be very successful. In 1951 he earned a Master of Science in Economics from Columbia and attended the New York Institute of Finance afterwards. 1 year later he married Susan Thompson at Dundee Presbyterian Church. The couple had 3 children, Susan, Howard and Peter, and later bought a 5-bedroom stucco house in Omaha, where he is still living, for $31,500. From 1951 onwards, he was finally able to focus on his own business ventures. He first worked as an investment salesman at Buffett Falk & Company for 3 years. Then he joined Benjamin Graham and worked for his Graham Newman Corporation as a securities analyst with a starting salary of $12,000 a year, about $112,000 today. 2 years later, after Graham retired, he created the Buffett Partnership Limited and met Charlie Munger, marking the beginning of a partnership that has spanned decades and created billions. In 1962, Buffett became a millionaire and merged his partnerships into one, and a value investing opportunity came to his attention. A textile manufacturing firm called Berkshire Hathaway was significantly underpriced. Buffett began buying their stocks from Seabury Stanton, its owner, at $7.60 per share. In 1965, even when he began purchasing Berkshire aggressively, he only paid $14.86 per share, which is much lower than the capital value of the company at $19 per share. He eventually took control of this whole company. In 1967, Berkshire Hathaway was expanding into the insurance industry and other investments, in addition to textiles business. In the late 1970s, Berkshire acquired an equity stake in the government employees insurance company, Geico, which became a major source of capital for Berkshire Hathaway. He has been the chairman of Berkshire Hathaway and its largest shareholder since then. Buffett later claimed that purchasing Berkshire Hathaway was the biggest investment mistake he had ever made. Had he invested that money directly in insurance businesses instead of buying out Berkshire Hathaway, those investments would have paid off several hundredfold. But the lesson helped him take value investing to another level. He dropped the idea of buying a fair company at a wonderful price and focused on buying a wonderful company at a fair price. For example, in 1988, Buffett began buying the Coca-Cola company stock, eventually purchasing up to 7% of the company for $1.02 billion. It turns out to be one of his most lucrative investments, and one which he still holds. In 2004, his wife Susan died of oral cancer. As he and his wife had planned that whatever he made would go back to society, he announced that he pledged to donate more than 80% of his wealth to charitable foundations. The main recipient was the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, created by Microsoft founder Bill Gates and his wife. In addition, he and Gates also founded the Giving Pledge in 2009, whereby billionaires pledged to give away at least half of their fortunes. He said in his 2010 Giving Pledge letter, "To date, 20% of my shares have been distributed, including shares given by my late wife, Susan Buffett. I will continue to annually distribute about 4% of the shares I retain. This pledge will leave my lifestyle untouched and that of my children as well, and I will continue to live in a manner that gives me everything that I could possibly want in life." In 2011, Buffett was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom.